Your arrival here was not random. Something inside you guided you toward this moment for a reason. Deep down, you have been searching for reassurance for a long time, hoping for something that could finally quiet the emotional storm you have been carrying alone. You tried convincing yourself that these feelings were only imagination, that perhaps you were simply overthinking everything. But no matter how hard you tried to silence that inner knowing, it continued returning to you in quiet moments, late at night, and during the spaces in between your daily distractions. That voice within you never truly disappeared because it was speaking from a place far deeper than ordinary thought. What if the feeling you keep carrying is not confusion at all, but recognition? What if your soul has been trying to guide you toward a truth your mind has been afraid to fully accept?
There is a reason this connection refuses to fade from your heart. A part of you already knows that something meaningful exists here, even if logic still struggles to explain it clearly. The more you try to push it away, the stronger it seems to return. That is because some bonds are not created only through circumstance. They touch something ancient within us, something beyond surface attraction or temporary emotion. You may have spent months trying to protect yourself by doubting your own feelings. Old disappointments and emotional wounds taught you to question anything that feels too intense or too real. So your mind tried turning this connection into something smaller, something easier to control. Yet despite every attempt to reduce its importance, the energy between you continued growing beneath the surface. It remained alive through silence, distance, and separation, because what exists at the soul level does not disappear simply because two people are physically apart. There is a reason your intuition keeps returning to this person. Your heart senses things long before the mind understands them. This is not just attachment. It is not fantasy. It is the feeling of encountering someone who awakened something inside you that had been sleeping for a very long time. Their presence stirred parts of your spirit you may not even have recognized before meeting them. That is why this connection feels impossible to fully explain. Your soul remembers something your conscious mind is still learning to trust. True soul connections often carry a strange mixture of peace and intensity at the same time. Even during periods of silence, a quiet certainty remains underneath everything. Deep within yourself, you still feel the connection existing even when circumstances appear uncertain. That calm inner knowing cannot be forced or fabricated. It exists because your spirit understands what is real beyond appearances. What is meant for your growth continues calling you forward no matter how far you try to run from it. This bond also entered your life as a mirror. It was never only about romance or emotional longing. It came to awaken growth within you. Through this connection, hidden fears, insecurities, desires, and strengths began rising to the surface. You started seeing yourself differently. You became more aware of the parts of your soul that needed healing and transformation. That is one of the clearest signs of a connection carrying deeper meaning. It pushes both people toward evolution, not dependency. And if you have been asking yourself why the distance had to happen, understand this clearly. Some connections pause because both people need time to grow into who they are meant to become. Separation is not always punishment. Sometimes it is preparation. The universe creates space so healing can happen individually before two souls are capable of carrying the full weight of what they feel for each other. Without that growth, the intensity of the connection could become unstable or overwhelming. What feels like silence is often a hidden process unfolding beneath the surface. While you have been changing internally, the same transformation may also be happening within them. Even if they appear distant, avoidant, or emotionally unavailable, that behavior is often rooted in fear rather than lack of feeling. Deep connections force people to confront themselves honestly, and not everyone is prepared for that immediately. Some people retreat because vulnerability feels unfamiliar and dangerous to them. The distance between you has purpose. It is teaching both of you how to stand fully within yourselves instead of losing your identity inside another person. This period is shaping emotional strength, self-respect, and inner stability. The universe is guiding you toward wholeness, so the connection, if reunited, can exist in a healthier and more balanced form. Real love cannot survive through emotional dependence alone. It requires two people who are willing to face themselves honestly. As you continue healing and growing, the energy surrounding this bond shifts as well. The connection becomes less about fear and more about clarity. Your soul is learning not to chase, force, or control what is unfolding. Instead, it is learning trust. Trust that what belongs in your life will align naturally when the time is right. Trust that genuine love does not vanish simply because challenges appear. And trust that some connections enter our lives to transform us forever, regardless of the final outcome. Here on Jung's Soul Theory, remember this deeply. Not every silence means absence. Not every distance means the connection is gone. Sometimes the universe separates two people temporarily so they can become strong enough to truly meet each other without fear. And if this bond continues living inside your spirit, no matter how much time passes, there may be a reason your soul still refuses to let go. They're exhausted from pretending this connection no longer affects them, or that everything between you was only a matter of bad timing. Deep inside, they know it was far more than that. The universe is slowly removing every distraction and escape route they once used to avoid facing their emotions. What they tried to silence has only grown stronger with time. Their quietness is not proof that they moved on. It is proof that the feelings became too powerful to keep buried beneath pride and emotional defenses. The distance they created has turned into an echo chamber where every memory of you feels louder than before. Their mind keeps returning to moments they once tried to dismiss. Their heart keeps revisiting emotions they hoped would eventually disappear. But some connections refuse to fade because they touch parts of the soul that cannot be easily forgotten. The ego can only suppress truth for so long before reality begins breaking through the cracks. Right now they're moving through a deep inner collapse, a dark night of the ego where old versions of themselves are slowly being stripped away. This process is painful but necessary. Without it, they would return carrying the same fears, the same avoidance, and the same emotional walls that pushed them away in the first place. Life is forcing them to confront themselves honestly. Their pride is weakening. Their excuses are losing power. The emotional armor they depended on for years is starting to fall apart piece by piece. This is why silence should not always be mistaken for indifference. Sometimes silence is transformation happening in private. Sometimes it is the space where a person is being reshaped from within. The universe is not allowing them to remain comfortable in emotional denial anymore. It is revealing every fear they tried to hide from, every wound they avoided healing, and every truth they refused to acknowledge. In many ways, destiny is refining them through discomfort the same way it has been refining you. Both of you are standing near a major turning point now. A moment is approaching where resistance begins losing its power and clarity finally rises above confusion. This shift is not determined by how much time has passed. It is determined by emotional readiness. It is determined by whether both souls are finally prepared to face the truth instead of running from it. They are reaching a stage where the emptiness of living without you feels heavier than the fear of returning. And when that realization fully settles into their heart, their actions will change naturally. Their return will not come from temporary loneliness or emotional impulse. It will come from surrender. A surrender to what they can no longer deny. A surrender to the truth of the connection itself. When they finally step forward, it will not be half-hearted or uncertain. It will come from genuine inner transformation. They will no longer be trying to protect their image or maintain emotional control. The walls they once hid behind will begin disappearing because life has shown them that avoiding love only created deeper suffering. Their return will carry humility, honesty, and emotional openness that did not exist before. The connection they once tried escaping is becoming the exact thing they are now being guided back toward. They are beginning to understand that running away never truly freed them. It only delayed the lessons their soul needed to learn. Real love has a way of bringing people face to face with themselves. And once that awakening begins, there is no easy path back to ignorance. As this turning point approaches, your attention is also being directed inward. This phase is not only about their awakening, it is about yours as well. The universe is asking you to become emotionally ready to receive love from a place of wholeness rather than fear. This is not about waiting anxiously for someone to choose you. It is about aligning yourself with the kind of healthy connection your soul truly deserves. Release the remaining resentment, doubt, and emotional exhaustion you have been carrying. Let go of rigid expectations about how everything must unfold. Healing does not always arrive in the form we imagined. Sometimes the silence itself becomes the lesson that teaches us our value, our strength, and our capacity to stand fully within ourselves. Forgive the distance for what it revealed. Forgive the silence for what it forced you to discover within your own spirit. Those painful moments shaped your growth in ways you may only fully understand later. They taught you how to stop abandoning yourself while waiting for someone else to become ready. Stay grounded in the peace you have been building inside your own life. The more centered you become, the clearer everything around this connection will feel. Fear loses power when self-worth becomes stronger than uncertainty. And as all of this unfolds, signs may begin appearing more frequently around you. Perhaps certain dreams repeat themselves. Maybe songs arrive at strangely perfect moments. Certain numbers, memories, or sudden emotional waves may continue showing up unexpectedly. These moments feel meaningful because your intuition is becoming more awake to the emotional shift happening beneath the surface. Here on Jung's Soul Theory, remember this clearly. Not every delay is rejection. Not every silence means the story is over. Sometimes two people are separated so they can become emotionally capable of holding the love they once feared. And when truth finally rises above ego, the connection either transforms into something real or reveals the lesson it was always meant to teach. The signs appearing around you are not random interruptions. They are signals guiding your awareness towards something your soul already senses deeply. Every repeating number, unexpected memory, familiar song, dream, or strange coincidence is part of a larger alignment unfolding beneath the surface of your life. The universe speaks in patterns long before the mind fully understands what is happening. And the signs that bring calmness and inner certainty usually come from your higher intuition, while the signs that create panic and obsession often rise from fear and ego. Deep inside, you already know the difference. You're not imagining this connection. You're not trapped in false hope or holding onto fantasy without reason. Something real has been moving quietly between both of you this entire time. Beneath the silence, emotions have continued evolving. Truth has continued rising. What once felt buried is slowly returning to the surface, and clarity is beginning to replace confusion. The emotional awakening happening now is guiding both of you toward a moment that has been forming for far longer than you realize. Everything you have experienced, the distance, the silence, the emotional lessons, the periods of letting go, and the deep inner growth, has been leading toward a major shift. This is not just another temporary cycle repeating itself. A turning point is approaching. The universe does not guide two souls through intense transformation without eventually revealing why the journey mattered in the first place. And when this shift finally arrives, it will not come in vague signs or uncertain mixed signals. It will not leave you questioning whether it is real. When divine timing unfolds, it carries clarity with it. There will be no need to search for hidden meanings or overanalyze small details. Truth reveals itself directly once both people are emotionally ready to face it. The action that comes from them will not be shallow or impulsive. It will not come from temporary loneliness, boredom, or convenience. It will come from a soul that has reached the limit of running away from itself. A soul that finally understands it cannot keep suppressing what feels true. At some point, avoiding the connection becomes more painful than risking vulnerability. That is the moment when real change begins. Their return, if it happens, will carry a completely different energy than before. Pride will no longer stand at the center. Fear will no longer control every decision. The emotional walls they once hid behind will begin falling away because life has shown them that distance never brought peace. It only delayed truth. But understand this deeply. Divine timing is not about receiving love at the exact moment your wounded heart demands it. Divine timing happens when both people have grown enough to actually sustain the connection in a healthy way. The universe does not unite two broken people simply because they miss each other. It brings people together when they are capable of loving from wholeness instead of emotional survival. That is why this pause was necessary. That is why the separation existed. You were never meant to spend this period only waiting for another person to return. You were meant to become stronger within yourself. The journey was always guiding you toward your own transformation first. Now your role is shifting into something different. Instead of waiting anxiously, you are being asked to prepare yourself emotionally to receive what is aligned for you. Being ready to receive love means creating inner peace, emotional openness, and self-respect within your own life. It means clearing out the fear, resentment, and emotional heaviness that would otherwise recreate the same painful patterns from before. If the insecurities that existed at the beginning of the connection still fully control you, the same cycle can repeat itself. That is why your healing matters so deeply. The universe has been preparing you carefully because something lasting cannot be built on emotional instability or fear-based attachment. Part of this preparation also means releasing rigid expectations about how everything must happen. Stop trying to script every future conversation or predict every possible outcome. Real alignment cannot be forced through control. The more you release the need to manage destiny, the more naturally life begins unfolding in the direction meant for you. Forgiveness also becomes essential during this stage, not because someone's actions were perfect, but because bitterness keeps your own heart trapped in the past. The silence, avoidance, and confusion you experienced became part of your growth. They shaped your strength, your boundaries, your self-awareness, and your emotional maturity. Forgiveness is not weakness. It is freedom from carrying emotional weight that no longer belongs in your future. As this energy continues shifting, you may notice your intuition becoming stronger than before. Signs may increase. Emotional clarity may deepen. You may suddenly feel a strange calmness replacing the confusion that once consumed you. Hold on to that peace. Do not abandon it for anxiety or desperation. That inner stability is the foundation for any meaningful connection that enters your life moving forward. Remember this clearly here on Jung Soul Theory. The greatest reward of this entire journey is not simply whether someone returns. The greatest reward is the person you became through the process. You are no longer the same version of yourself who once feared abandonment, confusion, or silence. You have grown into someone with deeper self-respect, emotional wisdom, and inner strength. You are never being punished by life. You are being transformed by it. And now, as the darkness begins fading and truth comes fully into the light, you are finally able to move forward with a clearer heart, stronger boundaries, and a deeper understanding of what real love is meant to feel like.